All right. Well, chat, we got our first developer of the day inside the Discord. Say hello to Theel.
Okay, let me know.
This guy right here. One of the Hell Let Loose mappers in the Hell Let Loose mapping department, and also the guy who built Remagen. Yes, the new map out here. One of the first developers we've had to be able to chat with. So, if any of you guys have any questions for Theel, by all means, go ahead and ask away inside of the chat. He's not going to really be answering many questions about when is this feature going to come out or that feature going to come out. That's more Max's job than his. But I guess I'll definitely open it up, buddy. What was it like building Remagen? Can you go through the build process of what it's like to build a Hell Let Loose map?
Yeah, sure. I start with research, and the research is usually a mix between modern references and
this isn't exact, but that's the general direction. It's fine.
References. And I also like to do a lot of books and read stories of like actual people that were there, and then also of course Hollywood films, and I think that's kind of my job as a leveler, is to kind of take a collection, like a sample of each of those, and put it all together to make something fun and kind of recognizable to as many people as possible, given those restraints. And the restraints of the game, of course.
Yeah, technical limitations is something we'll definitely touch up on and whatnot as a theme in a bit. All right, so we've got, art, media, culture, historical archives going into it. What kind of, did you find like any aerial photography that you were able to use to build as like a base ground for Remagen at all?
Yes, I did. Yeah. A lot of old photos. A lot of the photos were taken after the bridge was collapsed. So I, that was fine, because most of my job, most of my work on that level was actually not the bridge. I worked around the bridge, and then we had another team member make the bridge. So that was perfect. So like a lot of the photos worked, and yeah, and then also because of the technical limitations, we weren't able to do a bigger town and so on and so forth. So we just went with what we thought would be fun, but also be as accurate as we could.
Got it. All right. So so you got the aerial photography. First of all, did Danny do the bridge?
No, he did not.
Wow. Who did the bridge?
A developer named Fran.
Fran did it. Fran G. Got it. All right. He's in the asset department or the mapping department?
I would say asset.
Asset department. Got it. All right. So Fran G designed the bridge for it, and then Danny did the second biggest asset with his ship. Now all of Danny's teasing finally makes sense. Got it. All right, yeah, he was teasing this for months, like getting my chat like as mouth-watering as they can get. I'm just like, it's gonna have this next update's gonna have the biggest asset we've ever built. You guys are never gonna believe it, and we're just like, tell us, and he was just like, nope, you're gonna wait 4 months, suck it. And that's what we had to do. He loves to get everybody excited and not tell us anything. Oh my gosh.
I'm surprised he's waited 4 months.
Oh, yeah, no, he teases us nonstop. He gets us all excited and whatnot, but he never breaks NDA. It's like an awesome but royal pain in the ass. Oh, man. So, all right, so you got the historical archives, then you start building it. When you set out, how do you discover or think about technical limitations for the map based on performance? Because we've seen wildly different performances for Hell Let Loose maps, depending on person who builds it, as well as just like general locations. So without like ragging on them too hard or anything like that, we had, for example, Purple Heart Lane and Stalingrad were some of the lower performing maps, and they were built by Greetson, and they were great, like, looking maps and whatnot, but performance-wise, you know, they were on the more struggling side for the game for a while. So, compare that to, say, like, Omaha Beach, the map right now, I don't know, I'm getting like 60 FPS on Ultra. Right now, it's pretty stable. So, how do you go about, like, performance thresholds, deciding what performance is acceptable versus not? And do you tinker with stuff as you go? Or is it like a pre-planned kind of understanding of, we know we can do this versus we can't do this when building a map?
I would say from my point of view, my understanding of the technical optimization aspect is very intuitive, and that's because my background is basically the Unreal Engine and working on an older version of it where I basically was way more limited, and I had to really be very careful with how much stuff I used and get really nitpicky with it all. But with modern technology and modern computers and stuff, and modern engine, of course, I can get away with a little bit more. So I guess because of my background, I just naturally am more careful and try to make use of every little thing I place. Like if it doesn't have a purpose, like it shouldn't be there. And so I just kind of fill areas that look boring, and otherwise most of the stuff I place are because, like, hey, this would be a good spot to set up a machine gun, or a good spot to cover this corridor, or cover this entry into the compound, and so on and so forth. And then the other thing is Danny, the technical, he optimizes and does so much work with all the optimization. So I would pretty much give it all to him with why a lot of the levels are playable.
Yeah, I was explaining to chat earlier how he worked his fingers to the bone for like 2 weeks just before the update got like absolutely locked and ready for distribution, because he was tweaking like all the LODs, trying to squeeze performance out of everything. The poor guy, like he wasn't on the stream. I sent him DMs, he wasn't responding. I was like, okay, Danny is either like dead, deathly sick, or he is so in the middle of work he doesn't even have time for like a friendly DM anymore. What the hell is going on? And he was just like, yeah, so some stuff going on behind the scenes that I can't talk about right now, and I'm also working on some stuff I can't talk about right now, so I can't talk to you right now. I'm like, great. We'll catch up to you later. And then I found out he was working his fingers to the bone. Oh man, what other big questions? I got a question from chat. Do you get to travel to these locations for your research? That comes from Fluckbuck.
I would love to, and my plan is to visit Europe one day, and go and actually visit the battlefields that I've created through Hell Let Loose and other games. So yeah, that would be something I would love to do one day.
All right, so there you go, Chad. He doesn't travel right now. For the record, he's in the central United States. Right now, I'm in the Philly suburbs for that. But yeah, he's in the central United States, so it kind of makes sense that he doesn't get to travel as much as, say, some of our European counterparts at Black Matter, you know, who are really lucky, like Danny being able to just, you know, take a quick drive if he felt like it, or do something in the Netherlands and find a sacred battleground. Oh, man, let's take a look at this. Yeah, Rob, we're chatting with Teal right now. All right, so we talked about, yeah, technical designs and limitations, the general pre-build. So you get your research together and whatnot. Let's talk about the process with building with Black Matter. So you guys at the beginning of the year set up a AT behind at 230. He's loading another rocket, try to turn. We're dead. It's okay, I still love you. Anyways, you guys at the beginning of the year, you guys set up a roadmap of what you want to do and what you think is possible. What is that process like? Because you're planning a year's worth of content, and surely the mapping department gets a bit of a say in terms of, like, how many maps do we think we can do, what timeline does it take, etc. What is that process like?
I would say that the mapping timeline is kind of already understood. However, of course, it does vary map to map. Some maps being significantly more busy work involved, and others that are kind of more relaxed, and then we kind of focus then on like the maps that would be more relaxed, right? Like that are, say, fields, and we pretty much have the assets for already, kind of thing. That would be where we kind of get down and get creative and make some areas look quite different and put more effort into making the areas look more unique, and so on and so forth. As for like my timing and framing of stuff, no, that's not up to me. I pretty much, that would be the project lead kind of stuff, and they kind of have an idea of what they can get done, and then I sort of try to fit to that time frame as best I can.
Gotcha. Interesting. So in terms of project leads, is that like for different departments? They kind of have like a leader representing each like major department of staff, and they kind of set that schedule, or is it kind of like an overall coordinator within Black Matter that kind of keeps the timeline together?
I don't know. I think there is project leads for different department leads, of course.
Sure.
But yeah, like I've worked a lot and closely with Max and Greetson. So
gotcha. Okay.
That's and of course Danny as well, with especially the technical side of things.
Very hard work.
Got it. All right, so here's another question I'm sure that's people have been wondering for a while. Does Max still build maps? I know that he's got Unreal Engine experience. He's also obviously handles a lot of the business side of things. Does he join projects and help build maps?
I don't know if I should answer that. I don't know if that's something I'm allowed to answer. I don't know. I would say he's still involved a little bit. Yeah,
okay.
I could say that.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's awesome. Let me take a look at chat. Let's get some questions from chat. Does Theel think about mapping U.S. cities when he is in them? I would always be considering how the area I was in could play as a map.
Is this coming from another mapper for another game or something?
Ohio? No, he's a banker. He works for a bank.
He's just going about this every day, like, ooh, I can map that for that.
Pretty
game.
much.
Oh, that's.
Can I get a tank up top, please?
Yes,
Jumbo tank.
I do that as well.
I don't care what kind. Jump up top. Yeah, that would be. Because people talk in the game about like how it's like night and day. In terms of like sometimes people like have dreams about Hell Let Loose as they go to bed and whatnot. I get like things in chat of like, dude, I play so much Hell Let Loose, or I'm watching so much Hell Let Loose, it's in my dreams, and I'm like, I don't experience that, but I wonder if Hell Let Loose mappers or developers have that kind of obsession. And whatnot.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my goodness. Here's another good one for you. Work-life balance. You are a part of you got 20 different developers in 10 different countries on 4 different continents building this PC game. What is the work-life balance like, especially considering that you're also working on London standard time, like British Standard Time, that organizes like these efforts around the world? What is that like?
Yeah, so I'm pretty disconnected from the rest of the team with the time zone. We try our best, but no, I mean, I really like working for the team, so I have a lot of freedom, and I just get things done and try to balance the best I can. And I think that autonomy that I get is really beneficial for my life and getting stuff done in my life. So,
that's pretty awesome. As long as things are met by deadline, they don't care how it's done. That's pretty crazy. Awesome. Well, there you go, chat. There's a pretty cool answer right there. Coupling along with that, how did you get involved with Hell Let Loose in the beginning? How did you get introduced to the Hell Let Loose team and brought on board?
I come from a modification of Red Orchestra, and I think that's kind of what the original vision for Hell Let Loose was to kind of like an in-between of Red Orchestra and Battlefield or something like that. And I guess that's with my experience in that, and with the Unreal Engine and with Red Orchestra stuff, I kind of perfectly fit in for a kind of a I could bring what I knew and learn from those from my experience, and
wow. Yeah, so previous experience is kind of tying into Hell Let Loose and whatnot. Obviously, similar time zones with the games and whatnot. You know, all set in World War II and all that.
Yep.
Just translating into another project.
Yeah, so like not only do I have Unreal like a new Unreal stuff, the engine stuff and the editor stuff, but I also you've done a lot of research on World War II, knew a lot of the battlefields already, and had experience making World War II battlefields. So
gotcha.
Kind of a perfect fit, right?
Yeah, no, that definitely kind of works. What Wait, so you talked about Red Orchestra 2 as like one of the previous games that you were building these battlefields for. Red Orchestra, the original?
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
Not worked
on the second one. All right, so you did the original Red Orchestra maps, and now you're coming into Hell Let Loose with Unreal Engine 4. This game, it's unique right now. We're talking about 100 players playing highly detailed maps, some of which are nearly photo accurate to the terrain that you can visit in real life, particularly Omaha Beach. That's about as photo accurate as it gets. What allowed you in the mapping department to really unlock such hyper realism with Unreal Engine 4, say compared to like previous games? Why is this game and this unique setting only available now? Compared to, say, if somebody tried to take this project up maybe like 10 years ago, trying to create maps of this accuracy with this kind of player count.
Yeah, the player count is still kind of baffling to me. I don't actually know how it's all pulled off. The player counts are very hard. I actually have some experience trying to increase player counts for another game, and I kind of learned that there's this magic number of about 70 players, and above 70 players, all that data that's being transferred over the network, it kind of gets too big, like too much information to transfer quickly, right? You need quick data transfer for a multiplayer game, and when there's 70 players, you know, and all that information being transferred to each player, it gets too big, and then you get what they call like packet loss.
Yeah.
And so it's absolutely amazing that Hell Let Loose is 100 players and kind of breaks that threshold and does it very well. And so yeah, it's still mind blowing to me how well Hell Let Loose plays with 100 players. And the levels are massive. Let's face it, like Hell Let Loose levels are extremely detailed.
Yes.
And very large in size, which definitely is why they take so long to create. Like that's pretty much the big reason why the Hell Let Loose levels take so long to make.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what. Tying into that, what is the longest map that is taking you to develop, and what's the shortest or the quickest map you've been able to develop?
I had help with Omaha, and that was my first one, and I had help, and so that one went really fast. And then I would say one of the remakes, the Overhauled or whatever you want to call it, they remade probably Saint Marie du Mont or Hurtgen. Maybe Hurtgen was faster. I don't know. They were pretty close.
Yeah, I hear you there. I tell you what, you're a part of the mapping department, and since you bring up the old school maps, let's dive into this a little bit. a lot of the old school players, like myself, we appreciate the old maps that originally came out. And we know, you know, I definitely acknowledge at this point, you know, that Black Matter says those maps are never going to see the light of day again, the old school stuff that was done. A lot of players who aren't a part of the mod team like myself don't really understand much of the why behind we won't get to see some of the older maps again and why they were overhauled in the first place. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think I can. So basically it was for optimization and for also for gameplay in some cases.
Sure.
I don't think the original, you know, coming from my background, where I basically kept updating levels and updating levels and updating levels, you kind of get in, you look at the past through rose-colored glasses, so to speak. That's the saying. And so you remember it being, oh, this or that and so much fun, but yeah, it's usually wasn't as good as you remember it, kind of thing. And now you have that nostalgia, right? And that nostalgia fix is amazing, and everyone loves it. It is truly, like, there is definitely some benefits to the newer versions, and for one is the ability to play it better optimized, and then also there was a lot of deprecated assets that are no longer used and don't want to be used and would be way too much work to optimize.
Yes. Yeah.
And then also the generalized gameplay and layouts. There are improvements for that. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Like I have the same feelings. Like I remember the old school map and those exact moments where you had I remember one moment on the original Hurtgen where I was like on a hill and I was in the woods, and there's somebody came running through the woods, and in that moment I was like, I was so immersed that I was like, am I playing a game, or was I actually in the woods that's there?
Yeah.
That's an amazing feeling, right? Like,
it is.
You never forget. Yeah, so I remember that, and you know, now that the levels changed, I still remember that's the nostalgia fix, right? Like I remember that moment, and that was on the older version. But yeah, I mean, so the new version seems to perform better, I believe, even though it's much more detailed and much more stuff involved, and more dynamics with the fighting. Like it's not all the same across the board. Like you have some fields, you have some forest, you have different, you know, like different trenches at different distances, and so on and so forth. So we try to add to the variety of the level in updating and overhauling that one, which I think we did with Flying Colors.
Yes.
Including, and then also I think the same with Saint Marie de Mont.
Yeah, I definitely give you guys credit that, yes, you were able to put more assets into the maps, you were able to make them more finely detailed, and yes, you definitely did achieve performance gains on top of that. That is an achievement. It's an accomplishment for sure. Yeah, and I'm glad that you were able to bring up, like, how old assets, you know, it's just, they were built differently to the way into which it's like an old car that can't be made new again. You just have to move on. And just and get like a new car going. And so that makes sense. I understand that completely. I think the most jarring things, if I were to give it, I think for the community, it was just really surprising to hear about a Saint Marie du Mont, like, revamp, but then to have the actual locations and terrain change. To where it actually shifted about, like, 1.6 kilometers west. To where some of the objectives were not really as recognizable anymore, like Breakcourt Mansion, or you know, some of the others. So, yeah. Yeah. So
we chose, for that and that. I think we chose for the sake of gameplay, and also just to
nice job.
Have it. Like we needed to fill the level with stuff and not just have it open fields and So like for instance, what I noticed in the original was a lot of the hedge lines, the there was no cover, and so the players would just run along, just right up against them, and that was it. Like that
enemy
was
tanks
the
front, enemy tanks front, half track and Puma
as much as you could.
Half track and Puma
that was your
front.
best chance, and it was not really cover; it was just concealment, and so the combat was, in my opinion, kind of what I use the word gamey. It didn't have any sort of authentic. Let's get in this fixed fighting position, or get in this trench, or
yeah,
put it together and try to get to cover. And I think the reality was, it was a bit more gamey with that type of setup, and so when you have more opportunity to for cover outside of that, just the bocage, it made the gameplay a little bit more, at least feeling more authentic, in my opinion.
I get that. I get that for sure. Yeah.
Just the actual site locations and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, like, it would be nice if it was as historical as possible, but yeah, it just didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, no, and that's okay. I mean, it's not like it's a cardinal sin or anything like that. The reason we're just asking is just to help the player base better understand some of the decisions regarding old maps, particularly the old crowd has been around for a few years, like myself, and, well, yourself for that matter.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of situations where the authentic setup of the level is actually quite horrible and boring, and just doesn't work for a 50v50 or whatever battlefield, whereas like in reality it was more like 18 guys against like 300 or something of that extent.
Oh jeez, yeah.
And so, or like one side was out of ammo and they didn't have any ammo. Like that was the battle in real life, and so that doesn't work in the same setup for like a 50v50 where it's a game and everybody has ammo and or pretty much has ammo, and everything's kind of balanced, right? Like that's the reality. So also, you know, another thing you should factor in is like the real actual battle may have lasted days, right? They were just in a house, just sitting in a house
for days.
For days, yeah. And so like we can't really simulate that either. And so when it comes down to it, I think making the game fun is quite important, but we try to do it with the idea that we're making authentic battles, and then the scenery is kind of then placed onto that, try to make that authentic next. So authentic battles probably more important than authentic scenery, though. It's a careful game, because like obviously if we never have any sort of authentic scenery, then it's gonna be very critical, like, and none of the players are gonna like recognize anything as World War II, right? So
yeah,
it's a careful balance, and that was one case where we chose the authentic battle and the authentic battle and gameplay over the specific scenery.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. I definitely understand that. I'm going to throw one more question at you myself and then open it up more for chat. Obviously, we know that Black Matter's contract is going to be coming towards an end in the next year for Hell Let Loose. And so you guys are, you're coming down towards, that dwindling end of sorts, and then working on new projects and all. If you had a chance to build any particular World War II map, putting aside these circumstances, what would it be? If you could build a map for the game, and it was your choice, what would you build?
Got it, boys.
I've already built it.
You've already built it? What would that map? What is that map? What was it?
Remagen.
Remagen, really? It was that high up on your list, and now it's finally done, huh?
Well, think about it. Like, I've never seen it in a multiplayer shooter with significant battle, like what do we call that? Versus battle, right? Like
True.
The player versus player. Like, I mean, it's been in another AAA game, but like it was a single player, and it was like, yeah.
I know. It's like a campaign mission, not a multiplayer conquest,
exactly.
you know, 100-player fun fest. Yeah, I get that.
And it's a big challenge, and we like challenges. It challenges the players too, and that's one thing that I think we see a lot. As we see a lot of players, they want the perfect setup and make it easy or make it fair, and sometimes these battles weren't fair, and we get to see the players struggle with that, and that's kind of what simulates the combat, right? That's World War II. That's war, right? It's not fair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I got a comment like that actually in the game earlier. Somebody, naturally not all the players are going to agree and love like every single map. Some guy in the game was like, this map sucks, right? Because he wasn't like a fan of it. But and it was on Remagen, and somebody immediately snapped back in the text chat and said, yeah, you know what you should do? Go back in time and tell the GIs that actually had to fight the damn thing. This sucks, man. We need to go home.
Yeah, in fact, the people that took Remagen Bridge were just like people that didn't see a lot of combat. They weren't all that experienced, but they were closest. They were closest to the bridge, and you know, they went down the wire that the bridge was intact, and then all of the Allied forces were like, they went nuts, and they were like, whoever's closest, just rush the bridge, rush it. And so these guys that didn't have a lot of combat experience, they weren't like, you know, super amazing guys. They're just, you know, average Joe guys that were trying to just survive the war, really, were then ordered to rush across this bridge in the open and in the daylight, just like, ready to be sacrificed, right? And they did it. I mean, I'm sure they didn't want to, but they did it, and they took the bridge, and that was the biggest, one of the biggest upsets to the well, especially late war, to the Axis forces, was losing that bridge. I mean, that was pretty much a lot of the Axis leadership considered that the end of the war right there. So. Yeah,
not to mention they ran across it while it was rigged with freaking explosive charges at the same time. You and the 100 of you, go clear this thing of explosives, and if we can find your feet afterwards, we'll give it the, you know, the Medal of Honor, you know, after you're blown to smithereens. Go, Johnny, go. Yeah. Oh, man. What an experience. All right. Chat, I have asked enough questions right now. To any of you who are just tuning in, we are sitting down with a wonderful guest right now. One of the 20 Hell Let Loose developers, the mapper Theel, who comes out of the United States, the central United States. If any of you guys have any questions for Theel, or, you know, just the Hell Let Loose developers in general, now's a good time to ask, man. He's in the mapping department. That's his specialty. Got to hear a bit about it. If any of you guys have any questions, open it up. Meantime, for you, Theel, I'm going to open up a squad. I'll lock a squad here in easy, and we can hang out together.
Awesome.
And get some stuff going. I have not tried this. I have not tried this bottom objective here on this one. I'm gonna see. Yep, there's Ra in there. Great. I'm gonna try to get some friendlies in here that I recognize. Oh, I'm in the wrong vehicle. Yep, there's Sam Windu. Great. Yep, don't recognize you. Hey, Rob.
What do you need, LT? Medic, assault rifle, what?
Support probably. Let's get some stuff. Argento sarcastically asks, where do babies come from? That's a good one. A question for video game industry in general. What is your employment like? Are your contracts mostly unlimited or limited in time? You don't have to get like hyper specific, but like, what are your contracts like? Is it open-ended, or do you have, you know, contracts that have a time period involved?
Oh, that really depends on the company, what you're doing for the game, and so on and so forth.
Gotcha.
That's going to be super dependent and very situational.
Gotcha. All right. Well, there you go. I am going to assume Black Matter probably works off of more contractual work. I hypothetically, I can imagine it based on the fact that your work with Team 17 was contractual for the last 3 years or so. I think you guys have run at least 3 contracts with them so far. It wouldn't surprise me if that went internally as well, but again, don't answer anything you don't want to. Let me take a look here and scroll around for any other questions. Any thoughts on whether Soundboard would be a good map to design?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Also, Maggot, it is...
Yep. Question obviously comes down to whether or not it can come from it. Or whether it can get squeezed in while you guys still have time. We'll have to see what next year's 6 months look like. Gonna scroll up. How would Pearl Harbor work? Yeah, Pearl Harbor's not gonna work because that would be planes only. There are big open maps. Nope, that's not exactly a question for you. I'm gonna keep scrolling around here. When's the spotter flare nerf coming? Oh, man. It's in the mapping department, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that before you ask. Good God. Yeah, all right, you know what? Fine. Let's take this question like this. You, along with a lot of the developers, have the ability to access feedback in the Hell Let Loose Discord, subreddit, any kind of variety streams out there where people are streaming the game and raging at the game, saying it's awesome or that it sucks. How is feedback collected, really, amongst you guys? Are individual developers allowed to bring in feedback they've found and then work on it, or bring it to the group?
Absolutely, yeah. I've collected my own feedback through playing, and I've even like submitted my own bugs for my own levels through playing. Like I found a floater once in my own level, and I'm just like, I'm gonna screenshot that and submit it, and and then just fixed it. You know, fixed my own bug.
Oh, that's beautiful. There you go. All right.
That was fun. You know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a little treat for myself to do. But no, I mean, I really like. So I have a lot of people talking in my ear right now in this truck.
How you light them up?
Yeah, I had to turn the gameplay volume down to 50%.
Thrown out a window.
Yeah, I had mine really low, and then I couldn't hear anyone, so I turned it back up, and now I'm suffering as I try to talk over them. I forget what I was saying. So bug reporting. You're collecting your own feedback. Can Hell Let Loose developers collect their own individual feedback and present it to the group? Yeah, absolutely. And I've had my own issues that I've submitted and been fixed or even worked on. So that's been very encouraging. That you know I have a voice.
All right. I'll expand on it really quickly before getting to the next question. Best piece of feedback you ever received, and maybe harshest or most painful feedback you've ever received on your work.
I'm pretty filtered. I don't seek out tons of feedback, and I kind of want it that way. I know that the
Soundboard, if you want to come to my location,
I know that other devs do, and then they kind of filter what they hear.
If you can't think of it, it's totally okay. Some developers I know, they've got stories about their work. So for example, like Greedson at first, I remember him saying, "So what do you guys think of Purple Heart Lane in general?" And this was 2 years ago, about a month after it first came out. And nobody knew that he was the guy who actually worked on it, and so they gave like rather blunt feedback about like, well, the performance sucks, and I get arty to death. And it's terrible. And I just remember thinking, oh my god, this is like him sitting in here getting like torn apart instead of like being offered constructive criticism. This is saddening. He's embraced it now. He's like, hi, my name is Greedson, and I'm the guy who developed Purple Heart Lane and Stuttergrad. You know, like he's embraced it at this point. He's gotten some tough skin now. But like originally, like I just remember like that being like a really tough period for him when he was a bit greener, and it was like his first map. That was tough. Oh man. All right.
I don't know. Yeah. I can't think of anything super negative. Probably the best feedback was the improvements of St. Marie de Mont.
My body.
All right.
And gameplay-wise, not
Sure.
not what was critical of it, right? Just the positive stuff. Was great.
Done.
All right, well, there you go. All right, I got another question in chat. Let me scroll up to it. Theel, did you start your career at Black Matter, or did you work on other games and companies before Hell Let Loose? So we did go over your Red Orchestra 1 work a little bit, but what kind of companies did you work for before Black Matter became a thing for you?
I was one of those modders, so I didn't really get paid. I just worked on a mod of Red Orchestra, and then got experience making World War II content and levels, and learning the engine, and then that led me to Black Matter essentially. So before that, really, I was I worked for a veterinarian. I worked with animals, and before that, I did like calls, like a call center, and also I worked at a river resort for a while.
My mind is so thoroughly blown, chat. Okay, chat, that is absolutely fascinating. Okay, so apparently you can even have a career as crazy as being a veterinarian and eventually end up being a game developer. Okay, note to self. I'll have to get talking with Max at some point on that and see what kind of crazy skills I can offer. Good God bless. Any
Once you put your hobbies, where your hobbies end up, right?
Playing Hell Let Loose for the last 3 years and teaching people how to play it. This is literally my life's work, including streaming it 40 hours a week and teaching people how this game works. This is literally, I have dedicated my life around this thing. Give me 1 second. Ra, how much longer on that box? Halfway? 3/4? Not at all?
As I told you, it was half when I said, and now
my game volume's at 50%. My game volume's at 50%, so, like,
3/4, man.
Bless you, thank you very much. Alright, I'll see you in about a minute. Any thoughts on how to integrate civilians into gameplay? I see power lines, etc., potentially power or pumping stations functioning in the map as side objectives. So I guess Early Apex is asking if there's any way to introduce kind of like side objectives into the game, maybe, but then also just like the idea of seeing civilians within the war zone for extra immersion. Any thoughts on this so far?
I gotta give you my personal thoughts. I
Sure.
can't speak on behalf of Black Matter.
Yeah,
like that,
naturally.
Absolutely not. And my personal opinion, no civilian stuff whatsoever in these games. In a war game, no. I don't want it. I don't want to see it as a gamer or a player. So I wouldn't want to be part of developing that. Now, as for like evidence of civilian life, absolutely, like cars and work tools and stuff like that. We already do a lot of that. And
yeah, the houses. Yeah, houses with interiors.
I don't want to see actual civilians walking around or doing any sort of stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Maybe like large farm equipment in the distance or something moving around would be cool. I don't know, but not really. I mean, that'd be kind of a waste of effort.
Yeah, not to mention also, like, you're taking map assets into it. Got it. Any intention to create Italian battle maps or move into the Pacific?
Hard push from Charlie
I'll
Infantry.
put it to you plainly, Mokron, since I kind of know this answer right now. If it's not on the roadmap, the intentions are not there right now. Do keep in mind that Team 17 is kind of taking the baton moving forward. As for what exactly Black Matter is going to be doing in 2023, we don't know. And I tell you what, I'll take a stab at it. Teal, you want to tell us anything about the plans for 2023?
Nope.
Exactly. See, unless you get Max on the phone, guys, you're not going to get those kinds of answers. These guys are well-trained NDA specialists. Danny being the mastermind that knows how to, like, really dangle it in front of you.
Yeah, Danny is much better even than me. But yeah, I'll just. Uh-oh. I saw you get shot.
Yeah, I got picked off. Hovster. The Hovster asks, is it possible to let the heads turn when you're in the truck to reflect the player's camera? It would be hilarious. I could kind of see that. Could you imagine? Like, you're just driving along, and then you just, like, casually look at the guy next to you, and you see his head staring right back at you, like, where are you driving this thing? With a blank stare. A dead, brain dead, I don't blink stare.
Yep, I'm all for that. I would love to see that as well.
Oh, man. Technical limitations, obviously. We'll have to talk with Danny about that. He knows more about netcode issues in the game than most do. Let me take a look at this. I'm going to scroll down. I think the BAFTA was pretty positive feedback. Yeah, definitely. You get to choose head turning and trucks or the Commonwealth forces. Yeah, that's actually coming up at this point. And we, I'll ask a generic question. For it, you can feel free to not talk about it if you don't want to. The Kickstarter campaign said British forces with 2 Operation Market Garden maps. Is Operation Market Garden going to be the focus of the initial British release?
No.
If you don't want to answer, it's totally okay. I know, you guys. I know that Max is like kind of respectfully anal about not leaking unless he's the leaker, and that's okay.
Yeah,
but
I'd rather him be the leaker.
That's okay. So. That's okay. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not gonna hold you to it. We'll ask Max later on that. But I will tell you guys that was a part of the Hell Let Loose Kickstarter campaign. They've followed it pretty well so far. Okay, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Let's go ahead and scroll down here. We don't need to see civvies getting killed. I agree. If you want to see people with no guns getting killed, join the... no, I'm not going to read that comment out loud. Where is that code founder? I need to talk to him. He's talking about Paleo. We ran into Paleo earlier. It was serious. we bumped into him on FOI earlier. That was pretty funny. Is the Pacific campaign still on? Again, guys, we're... any talk about the future, we need to talk with... we got to talk with Max about that. Teal is more talking about either content that's in the present or content that he's done in the past, okay? Anything else you want to see behind the scenes? Talking about upcoming content is not going to be a specialty for today. For it. Anal leaker, shut your dirty mouth, good waffle. I tell you what, let me ask you this. So, you're like level 60 in the game right now. Well, level 70 almost, actually. You're 69, Giggity. Do you have any favorite roles in the game so far? Any favorite gameplay so far? Because you seem to play the game more than other devs. Like Danny Art, for example, is like level 20 or 30. And he says he doesn't get to play very often. Some devs say that this isn't exactly a game that they personally like playing. It's just not their genre, and they don't even play it at all. So, what is it like playing your own creation? And what is your favorite part about the game so far?
Oh, I love this question. All right, so it's very interesting, but Hell Let Loose is pretty much one of my dream games. I absolutely love the game. I wish I could play it more, but I've had a lot of life stuff happen, and of course, working on the game kind of makes it difficult sometimes, but no, I absolutely love the game, and I wish I could play it more. I'm a rifleman. I love rifles. I actually own. I want to own more rifles. But I have like a Mauser, and it is a blast shooting it, and I love shooting it in the game as well. And I won an M1 Garand or something, at least close to it. And I love shooting it. It's probably my favorite gun to shoot in Hell Let Loose. And so I pretty much always select riflemen. I lead a lot. I like to lead units, and I actually despised it until I could select that rifle, right?
Yeah.
I was happy with the submachine gun. I wanted the rifle, and so I had to level it up enough to where I could select the rifles, and that made it a blast. And so, and then this update is super exciting because of the voice channels, which I need to customize. I just now sat down to start doing that.
There you go.
I could finally lead a unit without having the command chat blow up in my ear. I'm gonna have a blast now, and I think I'm gonna be able to get more friends to play along with me, and not have to deal with the crazy comms.
Yeah, you know what? And it's interesting that you bring that up, because the feature, the VoIP slider feature, is actually something that was developed by Flix Interactive first. So before we get to the next chat question, what has it been like working alongside Flix Interactive? Max has described the relationship as a bit of a partnership, with you guys playing off of one another. have they helped you out at all in your particular mapping department? Added any value to your particular part of the work?
I'm sorry, I was distracted.
It's okay. So, you brought up the voice sliding feature. That was a feature developed by Flix Interactive, and a feature that the Hell Let Loose community was begging Black Matter to develop for over 3 years. My question is that Max has described Flix Interactive and Black Matter as kind of in a bit of a partnership, playing off of each other developmentally right now. Has Flix Interactive been able to contribute or add any value to the work that you do as a mapping developer in the game? I
honestly, I don't know where to begin to answer that. I don't think so. But I honestly, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one.
All right, gotcha. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, it's been curious. Most people don't know much about Flix Interactive other than we recently discovered at the end of June, thanks to a Team 17 live stream, they got like 13 people working on that company with you guys. They have a smaller development team than you guys do. Building the PC game, it turns out. There's 13 guys porting it over on console. Taking all that code and porting it over and whatnot. That was a mind fuck of an adventure to hear that at the end of June. And so, yeah, with them like building a feature or two that actually have crossed over into PC, particularly for the UI and now for the sound, it was just interesting to wonder if they had actually contributed anything to the mapping department.
Bombing around the front.
Yeah.
But there's not. Look at there's hardly.
But I mean, as a player, it's an absolute like amazing thing to have happen. Like I love the ability now to change the voice volumes. Because like that was a big complaint as me as a unit leader.
It'll keep them all.
Was like trying to lead a unit and focus. It was like to me being a good leader in Hell Let Loose or any situation is like to make sure that you're having fun. And that will then trickle down to who you're playing with, right? And
yeah,
it was difficult to have fun when like you're constantly hearing like 10 guys talking to your ear, and you're trying to explain to your squad member something, and they're trying to reply, and you can't even understand them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that it's going to be a huge change, and I would even go like I would even love to see it taken even farther to where like perhaps there's even more separation between them. I remember one idea was to like put one channel on to one ear or one left, like the left side, and then another channel on your right ear.
Yeah.
It's just an idea. I don't know if it would actually play out well practically.
It would kill the game for me if that was ever done.
Okay.
I'm biologically deaf in my left ear. So if that were to happen, this game would be unplayable on my end. If it was made an option, it would not be bad.
It would have to be. Okay, yeah, of course it would be an option. It would be a setting, right, where you can kind of slide it around or whatever, however you want it to be. You could even make it to where it still shows up in both, but it would be more so on one than the other.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let me catch up with chat here on the questions here. Quick question from Jason. Has Black Matter ever thought about making a tank-only game mode on Kursk?
Oh, that would be fun. Not that I'm aware of.
Got it.
I would love to. I would love to see that, or just any craziness. But yeah, there's also more things to consider than just that, right?
Sure. Yeah. No. It's definitely you'd have to get down to technicals as well of like how many vehicles can you throw out there. I know that there's a vehicle limit in the game right now already just because of technical limitations and netcode. Particularly how stressful vehicles are on netcode as it is. So yeah, no, it's more that it definitely goes just beyond the basics of like, can you do this? Maybe. Will you do this? We'd like to. Yeah. I get it.
Machine gun
Definitely.
right in front of me.
Let's take a look. Great work on Remagen, says Spears. Does Team 17 have any individuals helping Black Matter with map design to ensure a smooth transition next year and to keep up with the quality of maps in the future?
I cannot speak to that. I can't answer that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, guys, there's because of the nature of the background work right now, plus the nature of some of the contract work, there's going to be it's going to be difficult to kind of describe the relationship between Black Matter and Team 17 with some of these questions. Just so you know, best thing that I can say is that both companies care a lot about the game and are working hard to make sure that there is a good, smooth transition. You know,
I can, yeah, I would double, yeah, what you just said, perfect.
Yeah, that's about as much as we can talk about it right now. I know that the intimate details of, like, what the process will be like is a little bit more, that's more closed off for good reasons, business-wise. Hey, Soundboard, I got a serious question involved overall development and changing the tanks. All right, Millie Mills, well, let me know what the question is. Good Waffle says, what is it like playing a game that you've worked so hard on intimately? I imagine it must be like seeing the Matrix as opposed to seeing art and assets. So I guess the question really is, can you see past the game's design when you're playing a game of your own creation? Can you enjoy the game as a game? Or do you only see the technical aspects to it and think, I could improve this, I could tinker with this, if I could sit down and stop trying to play it first?
Short answer, yes, I can, and I guess to explain why or go into more depth, it's sort of like
MG is still prone on that spot, doing nothing.
Well, one advantage is that the levels are so big. I've actually gotten lost in my own work before.
Wow, really?
Where am I? I have to figure out where I'm at. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. I remember doing this work. Okay, yeah, okay, I know exactly where I'm at. Does it give you any sort of advantage? Not really. Maybe. Like I might have like the same experience as like someone that's put like thousands of hours in or something into the level.
Sure.
I might have the same kind of like, oh, I know where this tree is, or this bunker is exactly, and I know this angle. And so yeah, I have a little bit more advantage slightly, but does it break down?
Can try to get us
even farther? No. And absolutely, I get to enjoy the game.
Lucky guy. Some people can't get over that. I tell you, some people really can't get over it. They're like, oh my god, my fingers are all over this, and it's still, this one twig is not improved the way I want it to be. Fuck you, twig. I'm not playing this game anymore. And you know, and they can't get over it. Some people are such perfectionists, they really can't get over it, and they don't like the idea of touching their work. So I'm glad you're able to enjoy it as you do. That's wonderful to hear.
I have had that experience before, but not actually in Hell Let Loose. So I'm lucky with Hell Let Loose, I guess.
That's good. Hey, well, you take the small victories then. Take them. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Millie Mills, the reasoning behind the changing of the driving and gear shift changes between Update 9 and 10, where did that idea come from? As somebody who was an avid tanker in U8 and U9, I was disappointed with tanks in U10. So, Millie, keep in mind that Theel here is a mapper. He doesn't design the vehicles, and he does not tinker with the mechanics of vehicles, to my knowledge. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm nailing this right. So,
I know nothing about the vehicles, or the vehicle code.
So you're talking to one guy in North America who builds maps, and you're asking him, why did the tanks start changing up? And so, unfortunately, he's not going to have the answer for you. I'm just going to let you know that right now. I mean, again, if you want to take a stab at it, go for it. Otherwise, I'm going to find the next question.
Yeah, go ahead and find the next question. Sorry,
all
I
right.
wish I knew. I don't know, though.
Wrong developer kind of guys. They're all specialists in their own department. So what are some of the cool surprises that the devs put into Update 12? I'll throw that a little bit further. Do you have any Easter eggs in Update 12?
Well, they're dropping RD on this thing.
What did Danny do?
So I got to make my first. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I put some Easter eggs in, but I'm not saying what they are. How about that?
Okay, all right, fair enough. Any hints as to like a map and maybe like a quadrant of a map that we can find them?
Oh.
Danny, for example, when he put my Easter egg in on Saint Marie Dumont, I'm not sure if you've seen it or not. He gave me the fact that it was Saint Marie Dumont, and then he gave me like a quadrant of the map, and then I had to spend 2 hours finding it. And then I found it, and then I got hilariously pissed off at the fact that he chose to make fun of me for my Easter egg. You haven't seen this thing. I know you haven't. I'll have to show this to you. It's freaking ridiculous. All right.
Yeah, this sounds like something I should see.
Yeah. Your Easter egg or eggs.
Okay, so on Hurricane, the Hurricane revamp, I'm the one that put the rat. I think on the.
Oh, that was you! Oh, yeah, we know where that is. We've seen it plenty of times. That was you, really?
Yeah, I put that there. I remember they did that for the April Fool's joke, and then it just like was gone, and like no one was ever gonna see it again. I'm like, okay, someone spent some time doing this. I'm gonna just throw it out there and just see if anyone notices on the team.
We noticed. Danny made sure we noticed. Oh, that was such a good one too.
Yeah, just randomly. I mean, it almost like if you don't look at it close enough, like you may just think it's a train or something. But
oh, it comes up on the Hell Let Loose subreddit that I manage like all the time. There is some newbie out there who plays on the map, looks up the train tracks, and like shits his pants at seeing that thing and wondering if it's coming towards him. It is so good. It's one of the better Easter eggs out there.
That's hilarious because I didn't put a ton of thought into it. I'm just like, I'll just throw it here. Yeah. Someone might see it, someone may not. I don't know.
Yeah, that one is right up there with Danny putting Sanchez the goose-stepping chicken on the Foy dugout barn. I don't know if you've seen that one, but that is, yeah, that's, yeah, your rat goes like right up there with that one. It's pretty much one of the most popular ones. Oh, man. That's so good. All right, so we've covered Easter eggs a little bit on this one. Not sure, we're not going to get specifics on some of these, but I will tell you guys, the Easter eggs range from happy things to sad things. They also, some of them you guys also will not really be able to understand the inside jokes on. That's another interesting part about some of these Easter eggs, is some of them are inside jokes or really personal details about developers' lives. I believe there is a gravestone to a dead pet to one of the developers. I think it was, who was it? Greetson's dog, I think?
I saw one guy.
It was, somebody lost a dog, I think, and they, and that was included inside the game. I don't know where that gravestone is or to whom it's the gravestone is for. But yeah, long story short, guys, the Easter eggs are all over the place on that.
Another one.
Are there any plans to add a join server as a squad type feature? Yes, you can take a look at the roadmap. I'm going to go ahead and put the roadmap in the chat there. Abe from Wieners, you can take a look at that later. How long did it take? How long did it take to do a map? That's a good question there. How long did it take to do a map? So we were talking about these a little bit earlier. What was you had help with Omaha Beach, you said. How long did that timeline take for you? 6 months, maybe?
I think it was it was just like over 5 months.
Just over 5 months. Okay.
It's kind of hard to lock it down because like I worked on it. I started working on it after it had already started work on it.
Oh wow!
They've reworked the
a little bit, not like it wasn't done or anything by any means, but
it lands on your head.
Yeah, so that might be why
you can hear it.
I guess what I should have clarified earlier when I said it was like I spent the least amount of time on it, but no.
Got it. Okay.
It had multiple people working on it, and I started when it was, kind of, had been some work on it already.
Okay, got it.
Basic stuff, but.
All right. There's so many, holy damn. Yeah, in terms of the Easter eggs. Yeah, did he do my Easter egg or was that Danny? This is Green talking for us, Green from Black Matter. He's asking if you did his Easter egg or if Danny did that one.
I have not got very many Easter egg requests, so I have not, probably did not do it.
I will gleefully take an Easter egg. I will make an Easter egg request if that's the kind of thing you're interested in doing. So here's the, all right, let me share you my Easter egg really quick for it. Let me pull it up in stream. I still have the clip of this here. I'm not sure if you got my stream open or not. I'm gonna pull this up for chat right now. You let me know when I can go. And I'm gonna turn the music off for this. But yeah, this is the Easter egg that Danny made. I run over people by accident a lot in Hell Let Loose. I try to squish enemies. I accidentally squish a lot of friendlies. There is a lot of squishes that happen. And it's embarrassingly bad. I asked Danny for something as simple as putting my orange helmet somewhere, or even like playing off of the fact that I actually did a hot tub live stream in which I got an inflatable kitty battle tank pool floaty and sat in it and filled it up with cold water and sat in it for like 6 hours while playing Hell Let Loose like an idiot, and asked him to make an Easter egg out of that. Instead, he made fun of me and did this. I think I found it. This is St. Marie du Mont, just outside the cemetery. You tell me, gentlemen, do you think I found it? Certainly looking like it.
They're sitting on dugout waiting for us too.
The bloodstained tracks just gave it away. It took us an hour to find this freaking thing. Looking around. He did it! This son of a bitch! He fucking did it! I found the fucking thing. Soundboard was here. This fucking asshole. This fucking asshole. That's how that worked out for me. He used it as an opportunity to make fun of my crap driving skills. Look at this shit. I knew it had to deal with a truck.
Oh, that is hilarious. I will have to send you a video later when you're not streaming or whatever, and share and see what your thoughts are. But yeah, that's hilarious that you mentioned that, because I was watching your stream today and I had already witnessed, I think, 3 squashes that you did. So
yeah, I've run over the enemy team as well. I get like plenty of like enemy squishes, and those are fun, but like good gravy. Squishing friendlies, it's just notorious. It's just notorious. Oh man. All right, let me go ahead and scroll down here. There can only be one. Oh hey, I got a Steam achievement. Wait. There can only be one. What did I just do? No. Control F. There can only be one. Kill an officer on the enemy team while being an officer. There you go. Got one of the new Steam achievements done. Cool.
nice.
All right. Are we ever going to see tunnels in a map? Yes. This is something I actually wanted to expand on a bit. I'm going to take Ono Boy's question here and kind of expand on it. There's been a bit of interest in the community, and I've expressed interest in this for 2 years, for a Battle of Berlin portion of Berlin that included the Reichstag and Hitler's bunker underneath, and the tunneling systems that came with it. I remember when we did a meeting for Update 7's launch, when Karen Tan launched. I had asked the technical question if it was possible to do tunneling systems without impacting mapping performance, and the answer was, yeah, it's doable. So now we're getting question from Ono Boy saying, are we ever going to see tunnels developed in a map? Any thoughts on it? Even if you like it's wishful thinking, if maybe like you would like to see it in a map.
I would like to see it in a map. I actually was like kind of on board with it for Remagen, with the train tunnel going through the mountain. It's still actually possible that that does happen, right? So
Remagen tunnel through the mountain, really?
Yeah, so on the north side of the bridge, the train goes into the mountain.
Yeah.
And historically, the Axis, the command was inside that tunnel, and then they evacuated by going out the other end, the north end. So they fell back through that tunnel. Now I don't think there was any fighting in there, but it would be great to see and also fight, even though it may not be historical, but it would be fun. So
sure.
And it not necessarily unrealistic, because there could have been fighting in there. Why not, right?
Sure.
So,
yeah.
we're starting to dabble in that idea. Like, I think so Remagen makes use of I think it's one of the first Hell Let Loose levels to make use of invisible terrain. So like the landscape that you walk on, right, with the grass and everything, like that can be made invisible, and then you can like fall through it or walk through it, and that's how you make a tunnel, right? You gotta puncture, and then set up like static geometry to then walk around in or on or whatever. And so we actually make use of that on Remagen, the underpasses and the where the train goes underneath. It almost looks like a bridge, but actually it's utilizing it's basically a very short tunnel. So we're sort of like, maybe that was kind of like let's see how this works out. What are the specifics and the downsides to having that, but so far I guess it's not been a problem at all. So you never know, maybe we'll see more of that in the future.
Got it. All right. Here's a question from Argento. What was the hardest map for you to work on? Hardest map you ever worked on?
Purple Heart Lane.
Purple Heart. You contributed on Purple Heart Lane. God bless.
Very early on, and I'm just like, oh gosh, this is not gonna. How are we gonna make this play? Because in reality, that was an absolute nightmare, and I mean, it's called Purple Heart Lane for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know, there's actually a bayonet charge in that battle. There was a very famous bayonet charge. Well, not famous, not very famous. I would say a known bayonet charge in that battle. We basically had waded through that low. Remagen.
Yeah, here's your baby.
They had waded through those flooded fields, and I mean, it was so deep that they had to put their rifles over their head, like Vietnam style, and then they get to the other side, and now there's no retreat. Like, you're gonna, if the enemy pushes you, are you gonna start waiting with your rifle over your head, like waiting away? I'm trying to retreat. So they had no retreat, and they were low on ammo, and so they're like, the commander ordered fixed bayonets, and they charged, and it was successful. They took a field hospital or something, and then bunkered down there for a while, dealt with their wounded, and that was I think that's all I know about it. But yeah, that was a very famous bayonet charge, and so I was hoping bayonets would make it in for the update of Purple Heart Lane, but I guess they didn't. So, but yeah,
you guess they didn't. We still don't have them, so yeah, I guess they didn't either. I've got Dog Squad open for you, by the way. Join Dog Squad when you get a chance.
Okay.
Yeah, no, bayonets is definitely a popular topic there on that one. For sure. All right, so Purple Heart Lane, guys, there's your answer on that particular question for the toughest map. Let's take a look. The game tracks roadkills now. Yeah, I think that was Danny's idea, to be honest. Definitely think that was Danny's idea on that one.
I wonder if you had any influence on that.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, I'm catching up. Like, did we get all the questions out here? Here we go. Will vehicles get headlights at night, or will there be torches? That's an interesting idea. Any thoughts on that? Obviously, it's not. I know it's not entirely up to you in terms of like a decision, but what do you think about the idea?
Are we defining torches as in like flashlights? Because
flashlights. Yeah, he's British. He's British. Yeah, no, we're not rocking around with wood on fire.
I'm pretty sure this isn't Minecraft, right?
No. God bless. All right, get in the freaking vehicle. Get in the vehicle. Oh my God.
No, I have no idea. I'd imagine yes, but they're just going to be either abused or just beacons of death.
Yeah, I mean, well, what do you think about the idea? Forget flashlights for a second. Let's think about just vehicle headlights. Do you think that would be a good addition to night maps now that they're here and you've had a chance to play test them a little bit?
I don't think they're required, and I don't
think either.
I don't think there would really be an impact to gameplay besides just, hey, police kill me, enemy team.
A little bit, yeah. Like, obviously, look, I'll be honest. I have tried to blitzkrieg across the damn bridge while driving a supply truck, just thinking, what the hell? Let's see if I can actually just sneak past these guys. And I quickly get smacked down so freaking hard. You know, it's just like, okay, you can't Spartan charge through it. That's not a thing. So, with that in mind, I've definitely learned about that. I guess it's more about, it's not about, like, gameplay necessity, I don't think. I think the question really comes more out of, like, an aura, quality of life, immersion type of a question. Just seeing some headlights.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it happening, but as for if it actually does anything for the game beneficial-wise, no, I don't think it's going to do much.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I do think it would be just an interesting little touch, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, just a little touch there. Malak Missile, by the way, thank you for the follow. I think it's safe to say Russian maps are the least liked maps prior to this update. Yeah, I do think. What do you think about Cursed now with the nighttime variant? Have you had a chance to play that?
I've not had a chance to play it.
Oh wow. Okay, it's up next on the rotation, I think. I think this is up next on rotation. I'll tell you that the fog, when I played it earlier today, considering that the fog is so thick, it's like 30 meters in front of you, and like that's it.
Oh man.
I looked at it and I was just like, okay, this is not what I had expected. You know, like it's pretty it changes up the map, is what I could say. It definitely shakes up the map to the point in which the tanks aren't sniping across the map anymore, and you know, infantry isn't killing you like right in front of you. So, you know, it gets interesting with that. Yeah, if you get a chance, definitely do check it out for that. Hey, Soundboard, can you ask Teal, do you ever play a map and then realize something you could improve? Kind of touching up what you did earlier, the idea of you giving yourself feedback, I suppose.
Yeah, I have, actually. And I have made some changes.
Any particular one you can reflect on, perhaps, for us?
So another thing that I should mention, that I kind of do it constantly, right? So like one thing I do when I'm making a level is I spawn in, like play an editor, and I run around and I run up to like a wall and then see what the view looks like from that wall, like as a player. And
yeah.
So, like, it's kind of like playing single player or something without any AI or anything. But
yeah,
I just envision in my head, okay, someone's running across that field. Is this wall in a good spot? Like, is this like? I mean, I do that to some extent, and then I can also just do it without actually having to do it, right? Like, I can just look in the editor, look at this wall. Okay, is this a good viewpoint for this field, or is this a bad spot? Like, this is a bad spot to be. Okay, well, how could I make it better if I want it to be better? In some cases, you don't. You want it to be this is a bad spot to be, and so that's kind of made simple, right? I guess that sort of answers the question.
Yeah, that definitely answers it. So there you go, guys. There's like a taste of it. Is like just playing it for yourself after designing it from like that third-person perspective, and walking around in first person, looking at it, kind of tasting it a little bit. You know, you can change it up. There you go. Oh man. All right, here's a good one for you. We know that this is based on what Max has said publicly. You don't have to develop any details or anything for it. We're just going to talk hypotheticals here. Max gave an interview last August saying that Black Matter's next game was going to be a fantasy game, so that you guys could make shit up as you go along. That's almost verbatim what he said in the article, minus, you know, the language.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep. So he talked about the idea of making a fantasy game. for the next one so that you don't necessarily have to be bogged down in the quagmire of historical accuracy and the critics that come with it.
Yes.
With that in mind, is there a particular game genre that you might like to dabble into with your newfound skills that you've developed as a Black Matter developer? Any kind of genre, any kind of game, dream game that you might want to build? If you say Hell Let Loose and you've already built it, I'm going to kill you, by the way. Looking for, like, a tangible answer here.
Tank on B marker, sniper.
Well, I don't want to, like, give out too much, but
sure.
I like war games, I like survival games,
yeah.
I like a lot of different types of games. Honestly, I'm a gamer for over 22 years, so I could see. Well, okay, let's look at what Black Matter's good at, right? Like,
sure.
What are they good at? And it's we'll look at their one title, right? Like Hell Let Loose, and what is it? No, what is its main feature? It's a
the
multiplayer
maps.
game. So,
no, it's the maps.
Yeah, it's the maps.
No, it's definitely the maps. It's bar none the maps. Dude, have you ever seen the comparison photo of somebody visiting Omaha Beach in real life and standing on some of the assets you built?
I just realized that inside the
that I showed that on stream, and it blows people away as to how accurate you guys have made this. It's actually such a popular photo that people ask me to bring it up. I got it bookmarked now in my web browser. Here, chat, I'm going to bring this up for you guys. This is how accurate the maps are. Check this out. This is a guy, a random gamer for Hell Let Loose, like a random guy that plays the game. Went to go visit Omaha Beach, standing on a bunker. Here's some pathways near the bunker. We've got this, like pathway next to this hill over here. Here's a hill with some erosion right there. You've got another hill over there in the background, some houses, and then the beach, right? Here's what the Hell Let Loose developers built. Here's the hill without the erosion on it anymore, because they factored in 80 years of erosion. There's the bunker. There's the pathway next to the hill. There's the pathways leading up to the bunker. There's no houses because it's a freaking world war, and Tom Hanks is about to get off of his Higgins boat and invade Omaha Beach, okay? And then there's that hill in the background there.
So those houses were actually historically demolished on purpose for line of sight sake. For the sake of line of sight.
That I did not know. Oh, wow. Okay. Mind blown on that. That I did not know. That I did not know. All right, my mind, is so thoroughly blown on that. That is incredible. All right, well, there you go on that. Historical accuracy.
Yes, there's a lot of situations like that in war, right? The line of sight would be really good here, but this building's in the way, so they would just blow up the building.
Jeez. All right, well, there you go on that. So, back to the topic at hand. Black Matter is really good at multiplayer games and obviously the maps, and the maps are the most well-known things we've got. Other games that Black Matter, other game genres Black Matter could dive into, or a dream game type or genre that you would like to get into with your, skills that you've honed, while developing for these guys.
That's an excellent question, and I have definitely thought about it, but I don't want to give it away because you never know. Like, my idea might be really good.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. Okay, fine. Let's do genre. Can we do genre so it keeps it less specific?
I would love to see a war game with also like side missions and more survival elements.
More survival elements. I see what you're getting at, actually. I've kind of developed a bit of a picture in my head, and I get it. And frick me, that is brilliant, man. I actually know exactly what you're getting at. You know what? I'm even going to I tell you what. I'm going to DM this to you off of my top screen. Just tell me, like, yes or no. This. There, check your DMs. Tell me if I'm kind of hitting the ballpark. Just do yes or no or maybe or kind of, without, like, giving it away. Because if that's what I think it is, that's not bad. That's really not bad. Taking, like, the setting plus, like, that and then putting it together into, like, the whole... That's kind of nice.
I could say this, that Black Matter would be in a very ripe position to do something like that, and do a good job at it to where it was successful, and what players are looking for in that regard.
Yep. All right. Well, there you go on that one. That does sound really cool. Yeah. Thank you, Chad. All right. Let me take a look at this, dude. The arty sounds new and awesome now. I definitely agree. Let me scroll up, Zerbs. Are there any World War II historians that work with and consult with the devs on Hell Let Loose? So we already went over, Zerbs, that Theel himself actually researches a lot of what he ends up doing for building for Hell Let Loose. But we did not cover whether you do have research assistants out there in the company. Do you guys, I mean, you guys are individually well-versed in World War II history already. Most of the members of the team are. Do you guys seek extra help, though, in areas that you might not understand or know about?
I actually have fun learning on my own, so I do a lot of research outside of stuff. So I've watched, for example, I've watched like recorded tours of Europe and the battlefields over there. Like I guess people have recorded their tours, and I've even had like websites dedicated to that, but it was like it was in Dutch, and I don't know Dutch, so I had to get a hold of a friend that knew Dutch and translate it for me and everything, and like all kinds of stuff like that.
Was that friend Danny? Because Danny could definitely help you out with that.
No, that was actually someone else. But yes, that was a while ago. But
okay, got it. Yeah.
So it wasn't anything recent.
Got it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm trying to think to answer the question more specifically. I'm not aware of any dedicated historian that I've let's say this, I have not interacted with a dedicated historian for this project.
Consulting and any of your work. Okay, well there you go.
Okay.
All right, well there you go. Is there a huge difference between an amateur researcher and somebody who has a graduate degree with some specialized topic? Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, like it has been said, I think in a couple of interviews, that some developers actually have degrees, or at least have done research or published intellectual papers on the topics of World War II. I don't know if you're counted in that club, but in terms of like the historical knowledge that is on the team, you do your own research. Do you have any, background in like, studying World War II at all?
As in like formal education?
Yeah, formal education, maybe any kind of papers written, or just, studying it for the fun of it, maybe when you were younger?
I have written a paper about World War II.
There you go.
I have a business degree. If that gives
business
you an
degree,
idea.
sure.
I have a business degree. So, but as for, I don't know. I also kind of like bouncing the research off each other too. Like the devs will be like, "Oh, look what I discovered," and then we'll kind of bounce research that we've discovered off each other.
They must have something. And
remember, it's a video game, so sometimes the historical research isn't the only research we need. We need other types of research as well. Like for instance, film stuff. Like
left HQ, please.
In a way, like we had film is too influential at this point, right? Like to say it's not influential would be incorrect. So in a way, even though if a film is actually unhistorical but like extremely popular, we still want to look at that as a avenue to get, right? Like if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, no, it does. It absolutely does, for sure. You guys have had to strike a difficult balance, with fun and accuracy, for sure. It's been a theme throughout games development, without question.
Yeah, so I got a perfect example. Omaha Beach, right? So
Yeah.
Omaha Beach was pretty much locked down. They couldn't actually push the beach. The movie Saving Private Ryan kind of hints at the fact that they somehow through amazing feat they pushed through with like team hop leapfrogging techniques and stuff like that. But in reality, like it was like way down the beach that some guys broke through, and then went up on the bluffs, and then they cleared the bluffs from behind. And then once those bluffs were cleared, that's when the people that were pinned down on the beach could actually move.
Yeah, and that's it's interesting how that you get a taste of that a little bit in the game, like with the way the flanks are the way the flanks work on Dog Green. You will see people in the game try to flank to get off the beach first, then attack the hilltops, and then finally go back down to secure the beach and the objective. I've seen that before, so we get a taste of that in a way, which is interesting.
Is that our?
Yeah, luckily Hell Let Loose is a big enough map and a wide enough map to actually make it difficult for 50 guys to defend it all. So you actually kind of can simulate that a little bit. Even if it was just by accident, it sort of it kind of turned out that way. So it's very unique in that respect.
Yeah. I've got a question from Jack. How long did it take for Remagen? I guess we're kind of going with this theme a little bit. You mentioned that Omaha Beach was a quicker development thing for you. You did this pretty much alone, did you not? First of all, like this was like a pretty much solo build. Sorry, the bridge,
Bridge and the underpass asset. I put most of this together. It's hard to say the timing on this one because I worked on it for a while and then got shifted to something else and then worked on that something else for a while and then got shifted back to this, and so the time frame of this level is a little jarred in my head and I can't actually.
Gotcha. Was that something else update 12 related or update 13, 14? Like just to keep it generic. Yeah, update. It was other update 12 stuff. Can we talk about what you had to get shifted over to work on?
I believe it was one of the overhaul levels.
Overhauled levels. So I know that Curse received tweaks. Yes, particularly for its HQs. Was that something you?
I'll get one up.
That would be Greetson.
Yeah, that was Greetson who did that one. So what else? What else was overhauled? Yeah. What else was overhauled then, in terms of the maps, exactly, for Update 12?
I'm sorry, not Update 12. I'm thinking, like, past. This is a while ago, right? So
sure, got
it. I get confused with numbers.
That's okay. That's okay. No worries.
It was my work on Saint Marie du Mont.
Saint Marie du Mont, got it. So you were working on. So we're working on this and tweaking Saint Marie du Mont at the same time. Saint Marie du Mont's tweaks. Good God, I thought that was update 11 or 10 that those came out.
Yeah, I'm saying it was a while ago. So
yeah, good God, that's months ago. Okay, let's try a different scope of it then. When did you first begin on Remagen? Let's try that. When did you first begin on Remagen? Even if it was just down to like conceptual research and whatnot, and like when it was just like, okay, we're doing Remagen. Like, when did the process begin, do you think?
I can't actually remember, and I did not write that down. I should have looked that up and wrote that down.
Nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
I honestly can't remember. It was obviously not this year.
Okay.
I think it was sometime last year, but I don't know.
Good God.
Sure.
The fact that you're like 50-50 on last year, it's kind of astonishing to me. The idea that it could go as far as 2 years back in terms of like conceptual research.
It's crazy, right? Yeah.
That blows me away. That's a thing.
These levels take forever. Yeah, I mean, it's like the turnover like can be 6 months or more, or even in some cases, depending on if we have assets for the levels or not, and so on and so forth. Like if we don't have assets for the level, it can take longer.
Wow, that is incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Okay, so
huge levels, right?
Yeah, which is now I get a better understanding of I get a better understanding of what Greetson and Danny were saying to me. I was casually mentioning, like, okay, so, you know, we got, like, a couple of the, you know, supposed, like, Russian maps on the roadmap and stuff like that, and I was talking conceptually with chat about, like, next year, and I was like, okay, well, you know, the British might come out with, like, like a map or two, and maybe we'll see a couple more next year. And Denny kind of, like, smacked that idea down immediately. He was like, good God, Soundboard, do you want us to just, like, fucking die? You know, from, like, overwork and exhaustion? You know how long it takes to build these things? Like, believe it or not, no, I really don't. I really don't know how long it takes. And now you're sitting here telling me, like, 2 years, you know, can go into this, or if it's, like, researched heavily enough, like, conceptually. That's
it can
nutty.
Like, remember, it was a while ago because I got taken off the map. And
Sure, yeah.
So.
No, but still, yeah, it's still a process, though. I'm still getting a sense that it's a process of at least, like, a year, you know, on and off.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of good for a level to sit around for a while to make sure that, like, we understand and let new assets come in and understand the performance effects, because, like, every single time an update comes out, like, we make some sort of advancement with optimization, right? And then if the level was created before that advancement was understood, then there may be more work on that level to then make use of that advancement. I know that's hard to explain. So, like, for instance, new technology comes out, and we were doing something on a level one way, and then that advancement changes it, and now that level was made with that other way that's no longer ideal, and so now we either have to go back and change that level.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
retroactive work. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, you come up with a brilliant process, and then you're like, holy crap, this is way better than anything we've done previously. Oh crap, now we got to add it to everything else we've already done. Yeah, no, I get that. Well, let's. I tell you what, if you don't mind, let's examine it for a second. You guys have been slowly but surely developing this game, and you've been learning new techniques along the way. Some of these techniques are actually very well safeguarded behind your NDAs and will never be discussed as to the different things that you guys have developed as mappers, developers, etc. Over the course of Hell Let Loose's development. Are there any kind of techniques, examples that are less special, classified, you know, that you might be able to talk about? Something that you improved upon that you then had to retroactively reintroduce into the game. You kind of touched on this a bit with assets.
Assets.
Saint Marie Dumont assets that were, like, old versus the new.
Yeah, and a lot of that would be, like, optimization-wise, but some cases it would also be collision-wise. Like, let's just say, like, the collision was hard to create because the asset was, like, just enough cover that it needed a significant amount of collision, but it wasn't enough cover to make it like a good cover object, right?
Okay.
And then so the work on the asset then it's kind of hard. The collision would be hard to do because you got to know how much, like, detail to put on it and so on and so forth. And so then you know, you look at how good the asset is. It's like, well, why don't we just make another one by hand and just make it from scratch? And then that, like, it will look better. It will be more optimized from the get-go, and it will just be easier to deal with.
Gotcha.
And so that's what happens. And so, like, we get the new asset in, and then suddenly we are wanting to replace it. Now, luckily, a lot of things can be quickly swapped and replaced. But in some cases, no, absolutely not. You have to do some manual work.
Fascinating. All right. Well, there you go on that one, chat. Let me take a look. Before I forget and miss the chance, let me just thank the developers for joining your server today and taking the time to answer questions. Appreciate the efforts. Yeah, that's what they're here for, Good Waffle. Well, sometimes. Oh man, it does feel good. It's definitely is a treat, I tell you though. I've been trying to get these things together for a while, especially considering, you know, you guys are eventually gonna sail off into the sunset and whatnot, and it's definitely good to be able to get stories like this and learn more about the dev team before you guys move on to a new project. So I do appreciate that. I'm going to check for any other questions. What was the hardest part when it came to getting Update 12 released? That's interesting. Any kind of stories from the background about challenges just in general for the studio about getting Update 12 out? It could be related to your work or to, you know, anything outside of your work that you might have overheard in conversation when chatting with the guys.
Well, I mean, I can't really speak too much to that. I imagine. Well, I mean, let's look at if the playtesting kind of revealed that there was some issues with the lighting and the lights and the effects. So I imagine there's a lot of technical issues with that, and some stuff had to be sacrificed, I'm sure, to fix it. Who knows, right? That's not my area of expertise by any means. I have actually done some effects work, but nothing is even remotely as good as what these guys do, right? So
yeah, quick reminder on who does some of the lighting effects for the game.
I don't know.
Really? Okay. All right, we'll have to figure that out for ourselves, Chad. We'll have to figure that one out for ourselves there on that one. All right. Well, all right. Let's try to narrow the focus down a little bit. Hardest thing about Remagen for you to get it out?
Ooh,
for Update 12.
I would say Remagen has a lot of slope work, and slope work is always more time consuming. And
really,
the reason why it's more time consuming is it's hard to get everything aligned perfectly. So yeah, anytime you see a lot of slopes, just know a lot more effort went into it for the most part.
I say this as I'm looking down a goddamn mountain. So yeah, I'm literally, I just looked down a freaking mountain, like right there, just looking out across the map, seeing how many meters away is this? Yeah, I'm looking out like 900 meters away right now across the German mountain from grid G. I just pinged from G3 into F8, about 1,000 meters away, and I'm looking at it. So yeah, I kind of get the idea now.
Yeah, and slopes, especially around buildings or houses or urban areas, I should say, because like there's a lot of stuff around urban areas, which means more stuff, and trying to get all these things to work with slopes, really rough. But slopes are amazing because that means vertical fighting, and vertical fighting is a lot of fun, actually. It can be too much to where it's actually too hard, and some players won't like that, but for the most part, I think players enjoy some verticality in their fighting.
Oh wow, yeah. I do think verticality has its place for sure. I think you guys were actually rather audacious with choosing a map with this much verticality, because Omaha Beach was kind of like the spectacle for like cliffs and and that kind of work. Hill 400 kind of touched on it a bit, but it was much more gradual in the slope work that you encountered. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, as a player, you're in the grain of the slope. It's a big old hill, but you know, what you're encountering is a bit more, you know, relaxed compared to the sheer cliffs, like rocky cliffs that you cannot just like always climb in this new map. Like that's new for it. So yeah, I do definitely think the players enjoy themes of verticality and touching on it. I was having fun with it earlier, sniping down the German cliffs as an American sniper, like recon from behind. So that's for darn sure. But still, I mean, yeah, you're talking about taking it to whole new levels with this map.
I agree, and honestly, like this would still be like an introduction to, say Italy.
Oh,
like an Italian front map would be really rough.
Yeah, with all the different Alps and whatnot. Yeah, and the verticality for it. Yeah, jeez, that would be something. Oh man, I'm gonna check in with chat. Favorite spot in the game, any map. Any, I guess we could do favorite map, maybe favorite spot as well for you after all this time. We'll see if he answers with one of his own creations, chat.
Oh,
the dev that likes his own work.
Yeah, let me think about this. There's a lot of levels. I got a few. I'll start with making sure I don't use my own work, and that would be Foy.
Oh wow.
The front of the chapel of the town of Foy. Like,
wow. Yeah.
'Cause I have some experience working on Foy. I didn't make Foy for Hell Let Loose, but I have some experience working on it, and so that was interesting to see in Hell Let Loose, and I love the lighting and the effects and the look with the buildings and the snow and everything. So it's probably one of my favorite areas in Hell Let Loose.
All right, well there you go.
The next would be the east side of Hill 400, down in that and near that factory and it's the paper mill, with the low water creek and that weird. It's like a plateau that I made for the rail line. There's like a double bridge. No, not destroyed. My brain isn't working. A double bridge for the rail line that and it like crosses a plateau.
Yeah, I do remember Paper Mill. Yeah, in Hill 400. I will tell you that it's rather peaceful there. Short of the gunfire and my head getting blown apart. Yeah, it's pretty peaceful over there when you're just wandering around by yourself. As Recon, just walking around at it. You're thinking, I wonder if I could actually, camp out here and enjoy this. Maybe, and go visit this as a tourist attraction if it wasn't so freaking dangerous with all the M1 Garand gunfire aimed at my face. Yeah. No, yeah, I like that part of the map. It's kind of nice. Oh, man. American Infantry Division of Italy would be cool. Call of Duty Big Red One had a few missions.
Right, we got that Gary on George.
Yep, that would definitely be it. Well, chat, goodness gracious. It has been, I think, like 2 hours of us being here together. I feel like I gotta cut you loose and let you go, because this is your day to celebrate, too. At this point.
Both tanks.
I've been just running around on level the whole time, so I killed a few guys.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I tell you what, I'm going to focus on the gameplay now, guys. I think that will conclude the interview part of this particular stream, and we will just have fun for the giggles of it at this point. But if you guys are interested in hanging out with Teal, he is currently playing on my server along with some of the other Hell Let Loose devs. I will leave the server title inside of the of our stream here. Let me go to server there. And yeah, if you guys want to play with Teal or some of the other devs, by all means, feel free to pop